I made a video showing how you could get your entire credit history from all three bureaus using the two free services provided by Experian and Credit Karma. This video is an update to that one because there have been numerous reports of consumers not being able to see their credit information from Credit Karma for Equifax. For those consumers who no longer see their Equifax information in Credit Karma, you could sign up for the same service through Equifax directly. Equifax has a site specifically for this purpose called my.equifax.com. Don't go to Equifax.com because there are no free options there. Go to my.equifax.com instead, and if you don't find an account, scroll down to find the link to create one. Equifax has done an unfriendly job here of taking the lead in helping consumers manage their credit in my analysis of how their site is laid out. Because who's going to know about this separate website to find their information for free? Most people just look up Equifax in a search, and guess what? You won't find my.equifax.com in the results when it's done that way. This leaves many consumers frustrated in finding the only option they have with Equifax through its website is to pay for their information. You should never pay for your credit information. I cannot stress that enough. Here in the US, your credit history is an essential part of your identity, just like your birth certificate, social security number, passport, and so on. Now, credit scores are a bit different. Those are calculated using proprietary algorithms provided by various data analytical agencies. These proprietary algorithms do not belong to consumers and should never be considered free. So any site or service that provides your score along with your credit history should be considered as an extra bonus and is not considered an essential part of your identity. And going through Equifax's partner site, my.equifax.com, you can get all the basic information you would get through Credit Karma. Some consumers may have issue with how the credit account history is displayed because with Credit Karma, you were able to see and sort your accounts based on their open date, which is important to savvy credit users that practice credit card churning for bonuses. With Equifax, the credit history information is there, but is displayed in a less friendlier and confusing format. In looking at my installment accounts, the results in my.equifax.com are misleading because they include the amount of time that has passed since those accounts were paid in full and closed when they show in my history. When I go into the closed accounts portion of my installment accounts, it adds up all the time since the accounts were paid off and closed, which makes it seem like my history is much longer than it really is. Closed accounts do still appear in a credit history. With installment accounts, they must be closed upon being paid in full because that's in the terms of every loan. But the history of payments will continue to show in a credit history for at least 7 years from the date of last activity for the closed installment account. This means consumers can still benefit from closed accounts because their payment history still appears in the credit history. But the age of accounts factor and account mix factor can be negatively impacted. In looking at some of my closed installment accounts, Equifax makes it appear that I've got dozens of years of account age. But remember, closed accounts do not add to the age of accounts factor. So the way Equifax displays this information is misleading. Sad face for Equifax. It's a shame Equifax is reportedly dropping its information from such a well-known free credit service provider like Credit Karma. After the Equifax data breach in 2017, the actions they've taken to remedy the situation has hardly been exemplary. If you remember, they offered to provide free credit monitoring, which they claimed was worth $10 to $30 per month. But who needs a service that is provided for free like it is through Experian and Credit Karma. Then Equifax offered a 9-figure settlement, which was to be distributed to those affected by the data breach, but only after these same affected consumers signed up to be notified how and when they would be receiving their settlement. For those that remember this debacle from a few years ago and signed up, no one has been paid anything, which means not $1 from that 9-figure settlement has been dispersed. How do I know this? Here's the update from the settlement administrator's website. Here's a quick highlight. The court gave final approval to the settlement and overruled all objections on January 13, 2020. However, some of those that objected to the settlement have now appealed the court's decision to approve the settlement. By order of the court, the settlement cannot become final until all appeals are resolved, and there is currently no timeline for the resolution of these appeals. When the appellate court enters a schedule for the appeal, we will update this website to provide individuals with more guidance as to the timing of a decision. Another sad face for Equifax. But for those individuals that still want to stay informed on their information through Equifax, free options still exist. The first is my.equifax.com, which I discussed earlier. Another option is annualcreditreport.com, which is providing free weekly credit reports from all 3 bureaus until April 2021. I like annualcreditreport.com because you get the whole picture. Most free credit reporting services do not provide the level of detail like annualcreditreport.com. I'm referring to the old addresses and phone numbers, which are useful identifying pieces of information that credit bureaus use. Seeing a wrong phone number, address, or even your own name misspelled can be an indication that your data has been compromised. Annualcreditreport.com also shows the soft credit inquiries that anyone has made in your credit history. This includes every time you've opened Credit Karma or some other free credit service provider to check your credit. Soft inquiries do not affect your credit score, but check the soft inquiry section for anything suspicious. A friend of mine couldn't figure out how she had so many inquiries from Credit Karma because she never used it. Turned out an old roommate was checking her credit and used her information as an additional tenant. One last option is to try an existing lender who you have an account with. Not all of them provide a credit history and may only provide a score. When looking at credit scores, it's important to note the scoring model and which bureau is used. Equifax is notoriously the least offered of the 3 credit bureaus. I've compiled a list of banks that offer credit scores through Equifax and which scoring model they use. Finding a bank that provides a score using the FICO scoring model is most helpful in my opinion, given that most lenders use some form of FICO when reviewing credit applications. This list is up to date as of summer 2019. If any of this data is incorrect or needs to be updated, please let me know in the comments. So, has Equifax been removed from your Credit Karma account? Which services are you using to watch over your Equifax data? Let me know in the comments anytime. What are you waiting for? Hit it, Steve.
Wait.